afternoon, everyone. Um, Apologize for technical difficulties, but it is what it is. This is real time. Welcome to episode 34 of Inside the Wrongful Conviction of Daniel Holtzclaw. Um, the the sound okay for everyone? I just want to double check. We've had a rough couple of minutes, so just want to make sure everything sounds good. Susan, how's the sound for you? You're muted. How about you, Kay? How's your sound?
Check, check. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, I'm not hearing the echo anymore, so it's great.
I
Perfect.
was
All right.
talking to you muted, so
Yeah, we know.
Yeah. Welcome, ladies. And hello to Sheila in the chat and anybody who might be lurking, or if you watch this later. No matter how you see the information today or anything else, welcome. Thank you for being here. I appreciate your comments and your comments in the chat. Make sure you give the video a thumbs up and some uh, great but interestingly, surprisingly, things have happened in with the channel. I hope that it means that it's finally starting to reach others and people are starting to pay attention. But I have one of the videos. I know it's just one out of, I think I have 100 and I don't know how many videos I have, but this particular video has over 1,000 views, and I was really surprised when I saw that. So that just, from what I understand about algorithms and all that stuff, to get your video to be seen more, it depends on the likes and the comments and, after the video and stuff. So that's the whole goal of us doing this, is to bring more awareness to the truth behind Daniel's case, because the three of us on the panel here, and I know Cherie, and thank you 24/7. I really appreciate that. You know how this works as well. So thank you so much for being here and for the thumbs up. But we all know the truth about Daniel. We all know it's not just something that we think or we feel or that we're not conspiracy theorists. We studied the case, we've read the documents, we read the trial transcripts for you guys, as we do each accuser. So we're showing you the evidence and we're showing you the proof that even though there might not be overt, obvious things that the public can see outwardly that there was corruption, you hear it through the police reports and the various recordings done by Brian Bates, and then hopefully at the end of each accuser's series, we read the transcripts from the preliminary hearing and also the trial transcripts. We show you the police reports and we help you compare and show you where all of the inconsistencies and flat out lies are. So that's what the purpose is. And I know I say that every time, but like I said, this particular video that got 1,000 views or more, it just says 1K, shocked me, and I was really surprised and extremely happy. So I'd like to see all of the videos getting more views as we do each particular accuser. So the video that got the 1,000 views was trial testimony of Janie Liggins. So because that's officially where the case began for Daniel, I think that's a good sign that people are looking at that to see, okay, what did we miss that the media either lied about or misconstrued or you know didn't show us. And so I think that's to me, it's a good sign, and I would like to see each video start doing better as time goes on. So thank you to everybody who helped with that and who helped reading the transcripts. And it's what we need. It's what Daniel needs from us. So Cherie is working hard today. She's got a motion that she needs to get filed, and some new information came up for her to put into that motion. So she is absolutely 100% excused because we want her lawyering and doing what she does. So and we have Kay and Susan who are the three of us are gonna read this, and it's gonna work out great. Lori McConnell, ADA Lori McConnell, will be doing the direct examination of Carla Raines. Scott Adams, of course, is going to do cross-examination. Susan is going to read the part of Carla Raines. Kay is going to read the part of Lori McConnell, and I will read the part of Scott Adams and the court as we go through this today. So, but I want to give Susan and Kay a chance to say hello if they would like to, or we can just jump right in.
I'm good with just jumping right in.
Me too.
Okay. All right. Let me find the right screen here. Oh, I guess I could just do that probably. Yeah, I think I'll just do that, and then people can see more of the document itself. Okay, so I probably won't be paying attention to the chat. I will as I can, at least until Scott Adams does direct examination. But I'll need to be scrolling through the document, so that's okay. But please don't hesitate to make comments in the chat, and one of us will be checking it, to answer any questions you might have. So this preliminary trial or hearing was had on the 17th day of November 2014 before Honorable D. Fred Doak, who was a special judge. So we're going to jump into I will start here on line 9 with the court. If there is nothing further, you may call your next witness.
State calls Carla Raines.
Ma'am, would you step over here by the bench, please? Just right over here will be fine. Just for a moment. All right, have a seat there in the witness chair if you would, please, ma'am. And if you will sit where you can be comfortable, facing out there toward the lectern where you see Ms. McConnell. If you cannot bend the end of it, though we've got a cranky wire that keeps giving us trouble. Okay, whatever.
Is this good?
You might pull it just a little closer and down a little bit, Mr. Giger. I think Miss Raines is kind of soft-spoken. Let's give that a try. About mouth level, blah, 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 whatever. Go ahead. Line 3.
Carla Raines.
Miss Raines, would you spell your last name for me, ma'am?
Raines.
Thank you, ma'am. Miss Connell, you may inquire.
Thank you, Your Honor. Miss Raines, I want to draw your attention back to March 14th, 2014. On that day, did you come into contact with an Oklahoma City police officer?
Yes.
And where were you when you came into contact with that police officer?
On 16th Street.
16th and what?
In between Fonsel and Kate.
In between Fonsel and Kate? Did I hear you correctly?
Yes.
Okay. Is that in Oklahoma County?
Yes.
And were you by yourself or with other people when you came into contact with?
I was by myself.
Okay. And the officer, tell me how you came into contact with the officer.
Well, I was walking down 16 and he stopped me, was asking me if I had any ID, asked me where I was coming from, asked me where I was going. And he asked me if I had anything on me, and I kept saying no. And
Well, let me stop you, ma'am. You said that he was asking you these questions. Was it a male police officer?
uh-huh,
I'm sorry, was that a yes or no?
yes,
Thank you.
Was he by himself or was he with other officers?
by himself.
And was he in a police car or something different?
Police car.
Yeah, he was in a clown car, McConnell. Do you remember what the police car looked like?
A black car, police car.
Okay. Well, was it all black or
Yes.
okay. And you said he was asking you questions. Did he stay in his police car when he asked you those questions or did he get out of his police car?
He got out of his police car and then he put me in the police car.
Okay. And where did he put you in the police car?
In the back seat.
What happened next?
And he just kept asking me, did I have anything on me? He asked me if I'd been arrested. And I was asking him why he was stopping me. I mean, for what reason? I don't have any warrants. I have my ID.
Did he tell you why he was stopping you?
Nope. He said he just wanted to talk.
What happened next?
And it was just like nonchalant conversation. I don't remember word for word, but he was asking me, did I have anything on me? More or less talking about the upper part of my body because I had on some jeans. And he just kept wanting to know, did I have something up here? Can I just say something here?
That makes no sense at all.
I've heard this so many times from so many girls that he just kept asking me.
Mm-hmm.
That makes no sense. If a cop asks you something, they're going to ask you once, and then they're not going to just keep asking, keep asking.
I think that's one of the things that was suggested to the women,
I do too.
like many other things, and they grasp onto that as a fact because a lot of them say that. Now, I mean, I
Mhm.
can see an officer asking someone a couple of times, but
Yeah,
that's all she's saying that he's doing. But this
right.
whole thing, what she's saying about, you know, um, he was asking her, did I have anything on me? More or less talking about the upper part of my body because I had on some jeans and he just kept wanting to know, did I have something up here? So
So is
like her
he
jeans were
pointing
tight
at your breast or?
that her jeans were so tight he could tell she didn't have anything in her jeans, which wouldn't
Yeah,
necessarily be true, but that whole thing is just weird to me.
I agree.
Well, I mean, especially on the heels of her initial interview where she says 7 times, no, how'd you get my name on something like this? No, I ain't. I mean, I haven't. She denies it, and now here she is at preliminary hearing making up this story.
Yeah.
Pisses me off.
Yeah. And
How,
I
how,
also, just so you guys know, I have the police report pulled up too, so that, if we want to fact check something in that,
Okay.
afterwards or during, that we can do that too. But yeah, it is. It's an entirely bizarre, from line 18 through 23, really bizarre phrasing or wording. I don't really know how to call it.
She must be
he did
super,
it nonchalant.
yeah,
Yeah,
nonchalant.
just like a nonchalant conversation. What does that mean? Like, Hey, how you doing, Carla? Just thought I'd stop and pull you. And then the whole thing, I don't remember word for word. I get that, but but I would think that there would be some specific words. I think that that would trigger my memory, like
Like you got anything on you?
yeah, yeah. There would be more to that than just
You got
I
anything
don't
on
know.
you? Do you
You
have
Yeah,
got,
anything on you, Carla? Carla,
yeah,
do you have
Carla, you
anything
have
on you?
anything on you, Carla? Carla, I said, do you have anything on you?
yeah. Hey,
I
Carla,
mean,
I don't know if you heard me or not, but yeah, I get
does
it.
nonchalant mean friendly conversation?
Yes.
Because
Yeah,
that would
nonchalant,
that would be
okay,
true.
out of the blue, like
Mhm.
it just kind of it just this conversation just started like there was no big deal, like it was a normal thing every Saturday night at this. That's how I take it. I don't know.
Well, I mean, if
Okay.
she means nonchalant is friendly, that is how Daniel was when he stopped people to talk to him to see if they would volunteer information.
Right.
Sure.
For people who listen to this and don't know Oklahoma City, don't know the part of town he that was his territory. It was the northeast side of Oklahoma City where that area kind of comes alive at night and people are walking around because a lot of people don't have cars, don't have vehicles. And, it's different from other parts of the city. You don't see a lot of foot traffic that starts firing up at 10 o'clock or midnight, or it's be kind of uncommon to see someone walking around your neighborhood at 2 a.m. and that it would just be normal.
out out for a stroll.
Yeah. But it
Yeah.
that is normal in this neighborhood for the streets to kind of come alive and there to be quite a bit of traffic in the
Did
overnight.
they did they establish the date? They haven't, have they?
A
Of
date
this?
for this particular, sorry,
For
for this
this stop?
particular
For
incident.
her allegation, I'm not sure. I can't remember
Yeah,
what
it
it
was
is.
March 14th, I think.
So this
Um,
is right. This is right on the heels of Carla or of Tabitha Barnes. Then, or
yes, yep, absolutely.
there's a
Um,
cluster of people at this time.
And what is the date of this hearing?
the
Um,
hearing, okay, so I'm looking at the police report, and it was the occurrence date was 3/14 of 14, and the hearing date was
November 17th,
17,
2014.
14.
And they talked to
Yeah,
her. It wasn't August that they talked to her.
yep, August 15th or 14th. Let me look at that police report again. Uh, yes, it was reported on August 15th of 2014, and you're right, Susan. This is the period of time when it was a cluster, is a good word, a cluster of accusations that became started to, occur. I mean, these detectives must have not slept much at all during this particular period of time, because from I think the 14th of August until I guess we'll see when the next one comes up, but until the 14th of August, I mean things were kind of slow, but from the 14th or 15th of August through to the preliminary hearing, there was the cluster of accusers that they were going out and making contact with. It was like they were on a frenzy going out and trying to get these accusers lined up. And I
Yep.
and I know that Kay has read the email before too of how much was going on. I think it was from Musney. Um, he said
Oh
something
yeah.
about everyone we talked to
Turns into a new victim, and we're just
yeah,
everything we touch turns into a new victim, which means more work, something
yeah,
like that.
yep,
And
exactly.
also that uh, Galen Giger or David Prater, I can't remember who they put this on, didn't want to, um, wanted to get more of the victims um, investigated or whatever, their ducks in a row more with more of the victims before they press charges or
They
before
were
they
looking for that
trial.
DNA, weren't they?
Yeah, they were still hoping to find it. I mean, they ultimately ended up, didn't they ultimately end up
In
arresting?
in
Yeah, they did
October,
arrest him before they found Adara, though, didn't they?
yes, yes,
Because
because
there's
at
a,
this point, I'm sorry, go ahead.
I was just going to say, because there were two different times that they brought on more charges. And then there were other instances that you'll see in the transcript, in the preliminary transcripts, where based on something that a witness says on the stand, Giger adds another charge.
Yes, yes, and and in fact, that's what happened to Carla Johnson because we did Carla Johnson's testimony before this one, and uh, Giger's added another charge right after she testified before we come into Carla Raines' testimony. I didn't include it in the transcript, but the one that we read last, he asked to add another charge to Carla Johnson, and so there are several times that happens. We read that when it comes up with an accuser, we make sure we read that, and we may or may not see that in the trial testimony once we get done with preliminary with Carla Raines, but um, or it might happen at the end of this. I haven't read it. I mean, I read it a long time ago, but we're reading this cold today, so you guys are getting our reactions in real time as things are said that, like Susan brought up, doesn't make sense. Just doesn't make any sense. So,
So,
Okay,
uh,
let's move
line
on.
24,
what's that? Okay.
line 24, I said.
Yes. Okay. And also, just so that everybody's aware, Daniel will be arrested. He's going to get arrested on um, the 21st of August, and this particular case, or whatever you want to call it, is going to be, um, she reported this allegedly on the 15th of August. So just letting everybody know that's what's going to be coming up next after we get done with Carla Raines. Hey, Glenn, it's great to see you. Thank you for showing up and showing us some love. We really appreciate it. These new folks that are kind of coming in 24/7 live, Arizona Skies and Glenn Croy. I hope that you guys, that you'll get interested in this case and pay more attention from the beginning because it's crazy, I promise you. So thank you so much for being here, you guys, everybody. Okay, we're going to move on and let me find it. There we go. Okay, line 24, ladies.
And let me stop you right there, ma'am. Before he put you in the back of his patrol car, did he ever pat search you?
My pockets to see if I had anything on me.
He checked your pockets?
No, he just touched. Pat. Just pat.
That would be your front pocket?
Yeah. And had me to turn around I had on some jeans. So you can see that it was nothing in my back pocket.
Do you remember what else you were wearing that day, ma'am?
I don't. Just a jacket and tennis shoes like I always wear.
Have you come into contact with police officers before?
Oh, yes.
Have you been pat searched before?
Uh-huh.
I'm sorry, was that a yes or a no?
Yes.
Thank you, ma'am.
The way that he checked your pockets before you got in the patrol car, was that similar to how you've been pat searched by other officers?
Yeah, I guess.
And then you were telling me that he asked if you had anything on you.
Uh-huh.
Is that a yes?
Yes.
Excuse me. Okay, the lady next to you, to your right, she's taking down what you say, and she can't. It's hard for her to.
Okay. I'm sorry about that.
That's why we keep pestering you about saying yes and no.
Okay.
So whenever he said, "Do you have anything else on you?" you were motioning towards your body. Was he motioning toward you at that time?
Just the upper part.
Okay, and you're kind of pointing towards your breasts with your finger.
Yes. Yes.
Is that what the officer was doing?
The upper part.
Was he pointing toward his body with his finger or toward your body with his finger?
He was just like, he was motioning his hand like, do you have anything else on you? And I was like, no. And he just kept asking me that he needed to be sure that I didn't have anything on me. So I just got to the point where I just opened my jacket and raised up my shirt and lifted my bra.
Okay, so you lifted your shirt and your bra up.
Uh-huh.
Did you expose
Was that a yes or a no, ma'am?
Yes, I'm sorry. Yes.
That's okay.
did you expose your breasts whenever you did that?
Yes.
Was that something that you felt that you had to do?
Yes.
Why?
Because he kept asking me, talking about making sure that I didn't have anything on me, and I was ready to get away from him.
In your other contacts with police officers, have you ever had to raise your shirt with any other officer?
Nope.
Have you ever been made to expose your breasts with any other officer?
Nope.
Is that something that you wanted to do?
Why did she just lift her bra up?
Because, well, I mean, according to her and other statements, because she just knew that that's what she was supposed to do.
Okay.
I mean,
Also, this may sound like something that's unimportant, but I don't remember her having a jacket on initially. But whatever.
well, she also says she doesn't remember what else she had on and then proceeds to say what else she had on.
Yeah.
So that's interesting, but whatever.
Yep.
Okay, line 2. No.
What happened next?
Then it just, like I said, it was nonchalant talk. I don't remember exactly what it was, because in my mind, was just thinking I wanted to get away. And then after he let me out of the car, I started walking back down 16. And then a friend of mine saw me and he picked me up. He went around the block and picked me up. And then the police car came up behind his car with his bright lights on. And he had the big light on. And my friend, he couldn't see. So he was at the corner and he got on the loudspeaker saying that if he didn't move, that he was going to take him to jail.
Okay. Let me make sure I understand. So I want to go back a couple steps. When did the police officer let you out of the back seat of his patrol car?
Well, it was like about 30 minutes, 45 minutes, something like that. I don't know the exact time.
And
Sure.
Whenever he made you lift your shirt and expose your breasts, were you inside his patrol car during that time?
No, I was on the outside because I hadn't, because he was saying that after I got out the car, he just needed, talking about he needed to make sure there wasn't nothing. I didn't have anything because of the neighborhood, you know. And he wanted to just talk. And so I'm like, I don't have anything on me. So that's when I raised it up.
Okay, and then he let you leave?
Yes.
You said you started to walk down 16th Street, and that's when you...
And then I turned right on Kate.
Ma'am, I need to hear her question. If you could just wait just a second and let me hear what she's asking.
Okay.
When you started walking down 16th Street, is that when you saw your friend, or was that on Kate Street?
No. I saw him pass. And then when he turned right on Kate, he came around the corner and he picked me up. And that's when the patrol car came back behind when he was going. When he picked me up and I turned around on Kate, he picked me up and turned in. His car was facing 16th Street, and we got to the stop sign. He couldn't see because
Your friend couldn't see?
right, because the patrol car was behind his, and he had the bright lights on. And so, and then he got on the loudspeaker and said if he didn't move his car, he was going to take him to jail.
Your friend who picked you up, what's his name, ma'am?
I just know his first name is Maurice. I think that's his first name, Maurice. I didn't know him like real good, but it's somebody that's just an associate of mine I've seen.
Did you say Maurice?
I think his name is Maurice. Yeah. I don't know his last name.
After this happened to you, Miss Raines, did you tell anyone? Did you tell anyone about what happened after this occurred?
Not right away. No.
Okay. Well, did you tell anyone at all?
I spoke only in passing about it, maybe once or twice, but I never went into details about it with anybody. I didn't. I just try not to think about it.
Did you tell the police after it happened?
No.
Was there a time when you did tell police?
No.
Yeah, you're going to have. That's why you're in this chair.
Yeah.
Did detectives come and talk to you eventually?
Oh, then? Yeah.
Okay. Was that something that you brought about, or did they come and talk to you?
They came and talked to me about it.
On their own?
Uh-huh.
Was that a yes or no, ma'am?
Yes, ma'am. I mean, yes, sir. Yes.
Thank you.
Why didn't you tell police officers?
I didn't think anything would be done. I mean, it was nobody there but just me and him. So to me, I just took it as my word against his. So I just blew it off. Just as best I could, just walked away from it.
Well, it sounds like Maurice was there, you know?
Yeah.
And think about the scenario. So she's in the car for 30 to 45 minutes. He lets her out. She flashes him to show that she didn't have anything on her upper body, and he lets her go. She sees Maurice drive by and turn the corner and come back around the block. So Maurice had to pass Holtzclaw, pick her up for Holtzclaw to be doing all that wild story that she told that we've never heard again. they're not touching that shit with a 10-foot pole, are they? The whole loudspeaker, bright light, big light thing, like you're searching for a fugitive.
Right.
Getting on the loudspeaker, move or I'll take you to jail.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's super
None
believable.
of that story makes any sense at all.
All that crap on the heels of her saying that nothing happened to her 7 times when initially questioned. So, come on, man.
And just for context, this preliminary hearing is taking place literally 3 months after she had her first conversation with Rocky Gregory, or at least the one that we hear that's recorded. It's only 3 months later.
You mean when she
So,
said no 7 times? Nothing ever
yes.
happened to me like that?
Yep. 3 months earlier, she said that to Rocky Gregory.
Wait, I'm confused. That wasn't in. Oh, okay. That's right. So, the alleged incident happened March 14th, but they interviewed her.
August 15th.
Well, this is November, right?
November, yes.
August,
November
September,
17th
October,
of
November.
2000. Oh, 15.
Okay.
Okay, sorry,
Gotcha.
of 2015. Wait, what? No,
No, this is
this was
14.
No.
2014.
The
Yeah.
preliminary, yes,
Yeah.
is
So it
14,
was only
November
3 months.
17th.
So from alleged assault time to the time of this preliminary, we're talking what, 8 months, 9 months, and only 3 months earlier she allegedly reported it to Rocky Gregory, after he turned off the recording, and she told him that in private because she knew she could trust him, and everything was you know
In the
done
same
done
recording,
off recording. Yeah.
where she said 7 times that nothing like that ever happened, nothing, no officer had ever been inappropriate with her. There was a black officer and he exposed himself to me. He
Yes.
exposed himself to me. But
And
no,
it sorry, are you reading
no,
the
it's fine. No,
transcript?
it's, yeah.
Well, I just wanted to point out too that black officer that she talked about exposing himself to her, that was the year prior. She says in that recorded interview that it was the year prior that you know that black officer exposed himself to her in a sting. They determined it was a vice sting. So
And they are
anyway,
allowed to do that, oddly enough. That's interesting to me that officers can um,
yeah,
commit
it's
indecent
disgusting.
exposure to entrap someone. Well, entrap, I don't know. I mean, obviously, they're trying to bust up prostitution rings and stuff like that, but it's just bizarre that they can whip it out and that's just fine.
Yeah. Well,
I had
it's you
no
know what?
idea.
It's disgusting. Yeah, and I didn't know that until Brian Bates explains it during this particular accuser. Brian Bates explained that, I think, in his wrap up of Carla Raines, about the officers being allowed to legally do that, but then, which is disgusting. But I already think it's disgusting that for when undercovers are doing, you know, drug investigations and stuff, they can partake of um, drugs, to prove or do I mean, we know they can do drug financial transactions. We know that's done all the time, but it's still just horrible. But to know that that's one thing, but to know that a cop can physically um, expose themselves or whatever they have to do to it. One of you said entrap. It is entrapment, especially if they don't have any evidence that the person they're doing that with has done anything illegal. and then, but they can just expose themselves to somebody. If you do that to enough of some of these women, some of these accusers even, who prostitution is part of their life, and then to have a cop come up and legally be allowed to expose himself to somebody like that, is just, I mean, there needs to be a new law. Something needs to be a law written that is not allowed, because I think it's horrible. It's deplorable and disgusting. Anyway.
All right, I'm going to move on. Line 18.
Okay.
May I have a brief moment, Your Honor?
Sorry, let me get the...
Sorry, I need the transcript.
Sorry.
It's Rhonda, line 20.
You may.
Ma'am, you've spoken a lot about a police officer that stopped you on March 14th, 2014. Do you see that police officer in the courtroom today?
Yes.
Is that a yes?
Yes.
Can you tell me where he's seated and what he's wearing?
He's wearing a black suit, and I remember more his hair than anything, because I remember looking at his hair.
Is he to your left or to your right, ma'am?
To my left.
And to your left, I see 4 men with black suits. Is he at the table, or is he sitting away from the table?
He's sitting at the table. He's leaning on the table.
Is he the one who's closest to the judge, in the middle of the table, or furthest away from the judge?
No, he's looking directly at me.
Oh my God, that's not one of the choices.
Oh, God. The court, could you listen to her question?
Is he closest to the judge, in the middle, or furthest away from the judge?
He's the second one from my left, leaning on the table.
Let me do it this way, ma'am. If this is 1, this is 2.
This is 3.
3. Oh my God.
Just a moment. Just a moment. Carla Raines, just a minute. Listen. Let's let her ask. I ad-libbed, sorry.
And this is 4. Which number would he be?
3.
Your Honor, may the record reflect identification of the defendant as the officer who stopped Carla Raines on March 14th, 2014?
Record will so reflect.
May I have another brief moment, Your Honor?
You may.
Ma'am, I think I may have already asked you, but in case I didn't, Northeast 16th at Fonso, is that in Oklahoma County?
Yes.
Okay. I'll pass the witness, Your Honor.
Cross-examination. By Mr. Adams. Miss Raines, you would agree with me that Northeast 16th and Fonthill is kind of a high crime area?
Yes.
And the police are pretty vigilant over there, are they not?
Yes.
And it's not unusual to be stopped or accosted by Oklahoma City Police Department and inquiring on what you're up to, what's going on over in this part of town, correct?
No.
Okay. And on this particular event that you talked about happening back in March of 14, you testified that Officer Holtzclaw stopped you, correct?
Yes.
And asked you what you were up to.
Yes.
Placed you in the back seat of his car.
Yes.
But before he did, he pat searched your pockets to make sure you had no weapons or drugs.
Right.
And then he kept saying, I need to make sure you don't have anything on you.
Right.
He didn't say, I want to see your breasts.
No.
You just felt like that's like what you needed to do to get out of there.
No, because he motioned. Are you sure that I don't have anything on me?
Right. He kept saying, "Are you sure you don't have anything on you?"
Yes.
At any time, did you request a female officer's presence to search you?
No.
And so eventually you just wanted to get out of there, and so you raised up and showed him,
Yes. Uh-huh.
and put it back down, and he ran you for warrants and let you go.
No. He put me in the back of the police car and said he wanted to talk for a while. And I'm like, what do you want to talk to me about? He said, just like I say, I really don't remember word for word what he was saying, but he just wanted to talk. And I was like, I don't have anything that is sitting, be anything that we need to talk about. And he asked me, he just like I say, just nonchalant. It wasn't,
Did it appear that he was trying to get information on the neighborhood?
no,
Did, but you didn't want to be seen in the cop car because you didn't want to be labeled a snitch,
right.
and so he let you go.
Yeah, after a while he did, yes.
And he didn't touch you in any way that was inappropriate at all, correct?
No.
Pass the witness.
Redirect.
Redirect. Oh. Redirect.
No redirect, Your Honor.
Ma'am, I just want to be sure I understand the sequence of events. Were you standing outside the car when you opened your clothing?
Yes.
And was that before you got into the car?
Yes.
Okay. And was he seated in the car when you opened your clothing?
No, he was standing at the back of the police car.
You were both standing at the back of the car?
Right.
And it was after you opened your clothing that he put you in the car?
Right.
Okay. I just wanted to, I just wasn't sure the order of how things happened. And because the attorneys both suck at their questioning, I just wanted to make it clear.
Right. Right.
Ms. McConnell, will the state have any further questions within the scope of the court's inquiry?
May I have a moment, Your Honor?
Yes, yes, ma'am, you may.
When you were standing outside the police car and he was instructing you to raise your shirt like you had to do, what? Is that something? I'm sorry. Oh my God. Let me try that one again. I can really
Yeah.
read. When you were standing outside the police car and he was instructing you to raise your shirt by motioning to himself, is that something you felt like you had to do?
Yes, because he kept pointing to this area. Like he said, he needed to make sure that I didn't have anything on me. And I'm like, well, he touched my pockets. And he just like, are you sure? I need to make sure you don't have anything on you. So when I opened up my jacket, he's like, are you sure? And it was just like this was the area that was to me, that was, he was talking about, because there wasn't no other. I didn't have anything in my pockets, or like I said, when he did like this, uh, indicating. So what other area could have been talking about?
Did you feel like you were free to leave at that point?
No,
Free to walk away from him?
no, he didn't say that I was.
I'll pass the witness, Judge.
Mr. Adams, uh, whenever you state that he was motioning like that, he certainly wasn't grabbing your breast, correct?
No,
And he certainly wasn't grabbing himself.
no.
Pass the witness. Miss Raines, that is all the questions we're going to ask you today. Ma'am, you can push the microphone forward where it's out of your way and step down. May Miss Raines be excused, Miss McConnell?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, you're free to leave, ma'am, and thank you for being here. And then they're gonna take a break. So that's the end of the preliminary transcript.
So in the beginning of this transcript, she's saying that he kept saying, do you have anything on you? Do you have anything on you? Now at the end, she's saying he said, I need to check you, or I need to make sure you don't have anything on you. I need to make sure. Was she saying I need to make sure in the beginning? I don't
Yeah,
recall.
I was pretty sure she said that he did that before she got in the car. Oh wait.
Yes. Well, it's really hard to follow, right? Because
But he
nothing
only
happened.
checked. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No. Go ahead.
But he only checked her front. He only checked her pockets before she got in the car.
Right. But then she said she got out of the car.
30 or 45 minutes later.
Right.
Yeah. And we know it was like an 11-minute stop, according to his.
Well, we know it's a
damage
made-up
records.
story. She said
Well, yeah,
7
of course.
times, nothing ever happened. It's completely
So
invented.
in the police report, Rhonda, why don't we read the police report since she just testified and see what's inconsistent with this prelim? Because I don't remember ever hearing anything about Maurice and her getting picked up. Maybe I've just, it's been so long ago since I went over this, I'm not remembering. But I don't remember anything about the whole bright light, high beam lights, and then his big bright searchlight and the loudspeaker.
And the loudspeaker.
I don't remember that.
Of the light. I don't. Well, here's the police report, and we have to remember this is Rocky Gregory's writing. Oh my gosh. Let's see here. She advised that she was stopped by an officer who made her expose her breasts, which I can't get. How can you get there? How can you get there? Made her expose her breasts. I can't get to that. But he made her expose her breasts, didn't touch her inappropriately, but made her expose herself to him. And I asked her to explain. She advised that sometime in the last year, she was walking alone on Fonthill and 16th, about 10 p.m. and the officer stopped her and asked her various questions. He wanted to know where she was going and where she had been. He then asked her if she had anything on her, and she stated no. Carla said she had on tight pants, but it was obvious she had nothing in her pants. Officer Pat searched her, but nothing inappropriate, just a quick pat. He then stated, I have to check you. I don't remember her testifying to that just now. But
He just kept, no, what she said is he kept saying, do you have anything on you?
Yeah. And I have to check you. The officer made the motion as to pull her shirt up. Carla advised it was obvious by his statement and the actions of what he meant. Carla stated that she felt like she had to lift her shirt and bra to expose her breasts. The officer said he needed to make sure. Okay. Carla advised he motioned for her to pull her bra up. Personally, I think Rocky's just making shit up right now.
That's what Rocky do.
Yeah, that's what he does. He said he Carla Carla said she did as was wanted by the officer and lifted her shirt. Uh,
That's
Carla
was
flicked her
wanted.
bra out and told him, "See, I don't have anything." Carla then put her bra and shirt back on to cover her breasts. Back on to back on.
She
Officer
flicked
ran
it
her
out.
name. The officer said after she flicked out her bra.
Carla flicked
I'm
her
trying.
bra out. Hey, flick it
I'm
out.
trying to do that. I'm trying to do that right now, and I don't know what that means. But okay, I I don't know how to flick my bra. I'm gonna have to practice, I guess. Um, whatever. Uh, Officer ran her name and said something. The officer said something strange. He advised. Let's see. He advised, and this is nothing was testified about this. He advised, I go around and stop girls and people to make sure they're okay. The officer let her go after running her name for warrants. The officer did not touch her in an inappropriate manner, and he did not stop her or make a comment as to her raising her shirt and bra upon his request. Wait, what?
What's that mean?
He did not. I'm going to read that again. The officer let her go after running her name for warrants. The officer did not touch her in an inappropriate manner. He did not stop her or, oh, okay, I understand now. He did not, oh God, Rocky's a fucking idiot. He did not stop her or make a comment as to her raising her shirt and bra upon his request. He didn't request shit. She said he didn't say to do it. She just did it on her own. God. Um, Carla said she had on jean shorts. Oh, she
No.
did wear a jacket. She said she had a jacket on.
No,
Uh,
this is,
because it was
she never
colder out.
testified in prelim about shorts. She said she had on tight jeans.
No, tight jeans. Yeah, yeah. It was a normal shirt and bra, but it was obviously a bra that you can flick because you know he made sure that he said that. Um, she couldn't. Let's see. She was not sure on the date, and just so we're clear to those who aren't familiar with this case or don't remember, none of these accusers could give a date or a time period of when they were assaulted, just for reference. But they were
So
told
March
later after
14th,
the
March
AVL.
14th. I mean, give me a break. March 14th, she had on tight jean shorts at 10 o'clock at night in winter.
And a jacket. And a jacket. I mean, I guess people do that. I don't know. Yeah, it doesn't make
Was
sense
she
to
a
me.
hooker?
She says in the interview, the recording that we hear, that she used to do that years ago, but she done cleaned her life up and wasn't on the streets no more. So according to her, she wasn't hooking at the time of this interview or at the time of the alleged assault. But I want to go back to that because um, she says, "Thank you, Sheila. I appreciate you being here. Have a great rest of the day." She said that, oh, I lost my train of thought. That's Sheila's fault. Um, but anyway, um, I lost my train of thought. I don't remember what I was saying. Anyway,
Nowhere in there does it say about him putting her in the car and her being there for 30 or 45 minutes.
um, well, I think, let's see.
It does down below.
The officer drove an all-black police car. It was in a. She advised she had not been stopped by him before or since that she recalled, which is actually not true because I believe she was stopped by him. Uh, I want to say, I don't remember exactly what the date was, or if I'm even correct. I could be wrong. She advised she had been stopped by police officers several times before by both male and female officers stated that this was the only time she was made to expose herself or was treated inappropriately in this manner. I just don't. She advised that, let's see this little, Carla advised she raised her shirt because that was what he wanted. She felt like she had to expose her breasts to him. She advised she did it to make the stop go quicker, to not be seen talking to a cop and labeled a snitch. Carla advised if there are other victims, they wouldn't come forward on a cop because they can make it harder on them, like telling a drug house that they are a snitch, and the neighborhood takes a sort of measures and of discomfort on that. Uh, and that's it. That's the narrative, the end of his report. You're right, Susan. There's nowhere in there does Rocky say that she was made to get in the car. Um, so this case was reviewed with Oklahoma County District Attorney David Prater, who is evil, and thank God he's not in the office anymore. District Attorney David Prater and ADA Galen Gigger. The charge of indecent exposure was accepted against Daniel Holtzclaw, the defendant. Related case charges also accepted. See, see the cases for, okay, he's talking about other cases. So, I don't know, man.
It was in the 40s.
I don't,
It was in the 40s that
yeah,
evening at 10 o'clock.
it was in the 40s, what? Oh, the temperature?
The temperature.
And she's wearing tight jean shorts. I don't know, man. That sounds to me, if she was wearing tight jean shorts and it was 40 degrees and she had on a jacket or whatever, I don't know. That sounds to me like she might have been hooking, but who knows? I mean, I mean, that's not fair to say because I don't know that, but I don't know. But he didn't accuse her of that, and Daniel didn't accuse her of that, and ran her for warrants, and she didn't have any, so he left. But nowhere in this report, you guys are right, does it say that she was required to
Well,
she
we
was made
don't,
to get in the
yeah,
car. That's what
we
he's
don't know if Daniel asked her that or not, actually. We only know what she says. You know, by the time all this crap
right.
unfolds,
Well,
Daniel has had contact with hundreds and hundreds of people, and he's supposed to remember the details of something that's just a everyday occurrence. I
right.
mean, I can't do that. Can you guys do that?
No, no.
I have to think about what I did yesterday.
Uh, so, she
And the same
testifies
with
that it was
her.
30
I
to
mean,
45 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
The call was opened at 23:19 or 11:19 p.m. and it was closed at 11:28. So just shy of 10 minutes, according to the
That's
cat.
not, yeah, that's not 45.
No, that's, you guys know how much I suck at math, but if my math is correct, it's only 9 minutes, not even 10 full minutes. Um, the AVL, a vehicle locator, shows that he was there at that location on that particular call on the 14th of March at 11:18 to 11:28. And then there is audio. Bates plays the audio of the call, and we probably have that audio. I just didn't play it from the files, but so it was just a 10-minute stop, and I just, yeah, there's no
Hey,
place.
what were those dates on that? This is is this a supplemental report right here? I thought the first report was entered into the system. Okay, this is the first one. That's 005.
August 15th.
That's 005. That's a supplemental.
Okay, see. Well, I see what you're saying.
You know how the police reports weren't getting approved for a really long time? And now, and then when they get really close to arresting him, well, this is after his arrest right here. So
Yeah, but
they,
I know what
So
you're saying though in previous testimonies.
on her interview, the recorded one at her house, after she denies it 7 times, and then he says they go outside to get away from her grandma or whatever. That's all of that still on the record. Is that recorded?
no, he turned the recording off when she started after she said something about the black officer exposing himself to her.
What the
Yeah,
fuck? What's
a
his
year earlier.
excuse for that?
He would probably just say that he thought the interview was over, but then they got out there and she just started talking.
Whatever.
And
Yeah.
he's too
Well, and
dumb
we're
to
gonna,
push record on his recorder and start recording again because he probably just wasn't expecting that.
yeah. Well, and think back to Michelle Malkin's interview when she specifically asked about the Carla Raines accusation. Rocky Gregory was so uncomfortable, at least that's how I perceived him, so uncomfortable answering those questions. And I don't know. I mean, he just, to me, he was not truthful whatsoever answering
Well,
He
it's
questions.
was
right after he told Carla he's a really bad guy.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, he obviously was really nervous because he was making all these weird facial faces and his eyes were
Squirming.
blinking a lot. I mean, it's almost like he kept wincing or something. He looked super awkward.
He really did. He looked like he was squirming because he knows that that everything about that particular case, Carla Raines, does not make sense. And of course, I mean, I think everybody who's watching this particular series with Carla Raines knows by now that Daniel was found not guilty on Carla Raines charges. But um, Rocky Gregory just, if I could put my hands on that part of the video really quickly, I would replay it from Michelle Malkin. But he knows he's gonna lie about the entire incident with Carla Raines, and so he just is squirming and like Kay said, not, just blinking, his blink rate. We're not body language people or anything, but there are some things that I think some of us can just go, oh, that appears to be a sign that somebody is lying. And plenty of those guys have said that it is. But anyway, it's her that particular interview, it's 8 minutes long. He just looks like a freaking clown for one thing, but just squirming and blinking and fidgeting and sitting back, and then throwing his head back and talking about how I had built a rapport with her. you had a 20-minute recorded interview that we heard, plus a phone call that you had with her prior to that that we didn't hear. But in that
A
time, you built
question.
a rapport with her.
I have a question. At the end of that interview, does he state the time, the date that he's turning off the recorder?
And no, he just
No.
abruptly stops it while she's speaking.
Well, I'm going to say that the rest was recorded and he erased it.
Probably.
Probably. Yeah.
It probably went
Because
something like this after he turned the recorder off. Are you sure that when he stopped you over on 16th and Fonsel that he didn't ask you to like expose yourself or do sexual favors for him?
then she said, hey, if you want me to testify like that, I will. If he's a really bad guy.
I mean,
Ugh.
yeah, there really ought to be some sort of standards for how interviews go. It should be,
Yeah.
they should all be consistent. You should have to state who's in the room, what time it is, where
Yep.
you are, the same thing in the end.
Yep.
This interview is ending at such and such time. And you know what? If an interview, a recording doesn't exist of an interview, none of that should ever be able to come in as evidence
I
because
agree 100%.
there are way too many wrongful convictions that happen around fabricated evidence. And in this case, there are so many instances of the accusers changing their story to exactly match the AVL of when he had a legitimate stop with them. But those aren't recorded. And there are all kinds of reasons from Gregory and Davis as to why that thing happened, why it wasn't recorded. Well, I was just expecting to drop off a card. I didn't think she was going to be there. And then, I didn't want to. So, yeah, you
Don't
don't
forget
go
about
out.
Kim Davis' excuse.
Mm-hmm. That
I'm
was
not
one of hers.
techno. I'm not
Yeah.
techno like that.
I'm not very techno.
I'm not very techno. I can't. I text on my phone and I call.
I call.
That's not very techno.
Yeah. Well, I can't wait till we're able to play some clips of all that stuff. Anyway, and here's my theory or my thought, and this was my very first thought when I very first started researching this case with Janie Liggins. When she's at the, well, when I watched the Michelle Malkin interview, and Kim Davis tells Michelle Malkin that when Michelle Malkin asks her, did you record the interview with Janie Liggins? No, we never record victim interviews unless it involves a police officer. Right? Am I right, Kay? Susan? For
Right.
anybody else who has watched that Michelle Malkin interview, when she says, we never record victim interviews unless it involves a police officer. And Michelle Malkin just kind of drops a little truth bomb on her and says, well, this did involve a police officer. She's like, well, yeah, but I got called at 3 o'clock in the morning, and I was the detective on call, and I just got up and went to the hospital. I tried to get my son's recorder, but it didn't work, and all this happy horse shit that Kim Davis says in that interview about why she didn't take a recorder to a sexual assault call to the hospital that involved a police officer. My very first thought was, if you are a sexual assault detective and you're on call or you're not on call, you should have a fucking kit that includes the certain things that you know you're going to need to talk to a sexual assault victim. And if that call involves a police officer, part of your kit should include a working, reliable recorder.
I don't care if there's a police officer involved. It should be with everyone.
With everyone. Well, but according to Kim Davis, they don't record victim interviews unless it involves a police officer. So, I just, it's so infuriating.
Why not?
I don't know. I don't know. That's what Kim Davis says. You know, we know how much we can believe her horse shit. But
I'm looking.
Go ahead.
Go ahead. I'm looking at the transcript of her interview, and Rocky said, "This is back to like what the weather was like." Rocky says, "This you said about a year ago. You said it was," and he starts to say hot, and then he stops himself and he says, "It was warm out," and she said, "It was no, it was kind of." I had it was nighttime. I think I had like a little bitty jacket on. I had on something. I know I had on a shirt. And he was just like, and I took everything out, which I just had my ID because I always carry my ID in my back pocket if I don't have my purse. Okay. So what is that? I mean, Rocky knows it was March 14th.
Yeah.
When this happened. He's trying to say that at 10 o'clock at night, it was warm outside. It wasn't warm outside.
Mm-mm.
And now she's saying she had her ID in her back pocket. She didn't have anything in her back pocket at prelim.
Well, and she says, I took everything out, which all I had was my ID, but.
She didn't describe
Okay.
taking everything out of her pocket. She just said he touched her front pockets, and then she turned around and you could see nothing was in her back pockets because she had on tight jeans.
She did say she had her ID. She didn't say where it was, but.
Yeah, she said she had her ID, but I think she had just gotten a new ID when he went to interview her because that whole, at the beginning of the conversation, I guess, I don't know what she was thinking, but she goes into this whole story about how, she lost her ID, and Rocky's really confused what she's trying to say to him. She's trying to give him her ID. Here you go. Get my belt on, my ID and stuff out. And he says, "Oh, you're fine. How you doing, Carla?" "I'm doing fine." And she tells him he can have a seat. And she says, yeah, right away, let's see. "Oh, you're all right. Well, I didn't think that I was kind of being clear about what I was asking." So obviously they've had a phone conversation before this, which wasn't recorded or documented. I didn't see a documentation of him saying he called her on and had a conversation on the phone. And that's the reason I wanted to meet you face to face. She says, "Yeah, because I ain't, like I say, I'd clean my life up. So I haven't been out on no streets. I haven't had this, this is my ID, but I was," and he says, "You're fine. I was telling you that I had lost my ID, but this is my current address, this address." "Uh-huh. But my last ID, see, I was supposed to call and report and I forgot it because that's what happened to me because I ain't have no warrants or nothing, and I didn't want nobody trying to use my name. He says, uh-huh. And end up, and I'm we done got stopped, and they taken me to jail for robbing a bank or something. And she's laughing, so she's saying that she didn't want to get stopped for robbing a bank for not having her ID. And Gregory says, so you're wanting your ID back? Is that? No, no, no. I lost my ID. I was just letting you know. Oh, you lost it. Yeah, this is a new one, and I lost my old one. So, whatever that conversation about the ID was about, I
Yeah.
guess she thought since a detective was making contact with her, she was going to need to produce an ID like you would on a traffic stop. But that's interesting.
Daniel was acquitted on her charge, right?
He was, yeah.
Charges. Thank the Lord. Well, that it makes any difference. 263 years.
Yeah. Yeah, so here's the part where he just right away after the whole ID conversation, Rocky says, have you ever come into any contact where an officer has been inappropriate? No. You ever had to expose yourself to him? No. Okay. I hadn't really had, no, I had I think like one contact since this year, and it was just no two. Well, actually, I wasn't driving and I was in the passenger seat, but like I said, I carry my ID and everything. He says, okay. But cuz I don't know the streets no more. I don't do drugs and all that kind of stuff, so I don't. And he says, but you wasn't asked to, like, if you had any drugs on you, anything like that, and had to. And she says, expose myself? And he says, mm-hmm. And she says, uh-uh. I met an officer. Was it this year? And then the mom chimes in and says some stuff in the background. She says, oh, that's my mom. What is this? Her mom's makes some comment like, Oklahoma City police officers, they're no good. God. Carla says, no, I haven't had. How'd you get my name on anything on something like this? Rocky, well, this is the deal. We got several victims. And she says, mm-hmm. He says, okay. And so we're trying to go back on this guy, and he's a pretty bad guy. She says, was he dressing himself as an officer or something inaudible? Prostitutes?
I let me just really quick interject, Kay. When she says that, was he dressing himself like an officer? I think the inaudible part probably says something about and approaching prostitutes or soliciting prostitutes or something like that.
Yeah,
That's
probably.
just my opinion.
Probably so, because that would make sense why she said the thing about the black officer exposing himself to her. But she doesn't say that right away right here. She says, well, here the mom is interjecting and interrupting a little bit more here. she says, as far as, because I hadn't really been on the streets and stuff. He says, okay. She said that so much. So I mean, I know what you're talking about. I just couldn't be talking in front of her, but I know what you're talking about as far as, but I haven't, but was he, what do you mean expose himself as far as ask for a prostitution or Gregory says, well, not even necessarily for prostitutes, but he tries to, he's having women do different things. She says, oh, thinking they gonna go to jail if they do a favor for him. They wouldn't. There you go. Okay. Well, I know what you're talking about. I know within the past year, I really can't recall, Gregory says, and how I come across your name is that anybody with like anybody he's been running, okay? And we kind of came up with a list. So he's telling her, hey, the officer that we're talking about, since you just told me that you've only had contact with one officer and then another officer when you were in the passenger seat of someone's car. So he's telling her the officer that we're talking about is the one who ran your name. Gregory's giving her that information right here. Do we all remember the last officer who pulled us over? I do.
Hell no.
You know where you were when you got pulled over last?
Yes.
Yeah.
I do. I don't remember the officer. I know it was a sheriff, if I'm not mistaken. It was about 3 hours south of where I live, but I don't remember. Yeah, I don't know. Anyway.
But you remember where the location was that you got pulled over?
Oh, I know exactly where it was, and it was
Yeah.
in 2000, I want to say 2015. Oh, weird. That's weird.
And so does she probably. She probably is like, oh, wow, that I got pulled over. She probably recalls that, hey, I got pulled over at 16th between Fonsel and Kate.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, it wasn't like Shardarian Hill, who was blotto out of her mind on PCP, not even remembering that Holtzclaw left the hospital room to go help another officer chase someone down. She obviously was not spaced out on drugs at this point. This is just so shady, how Gregory and Davis go out and try to give these women information to get them to trigger the stop that Holtzclaw made with them after they've already given him the information about what that officer is doing to these women. And he's a pretty bad officer.
Pretty bad guy.
Pretty bad guy. He's having women do different things.
He says that to Terry Morris, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
We finished that interview, Kate.
Well, I finished this section of it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's see. So he tells her the way they got her name came up with a list from people that this officer had been running. She says, oh, okay. And Gregory says, okay. And she says, so it's been the only area? Gregory interrupts her and says, the problem is, and she says, she finishes, the only area I've been in is I've been in this area. See, this is the only one. I even thought that prostitute. See, this is the only one I was in, and I guess like about 3 or 4 months, because I had been to detox when they first started open, because I used to be right down the street, but then from 19th, 20th, or down to maybe 17th, within that area. So she is recalling the traffic stop being. She could probably go right to the location, but as far as in her mind, being able to pull up 16th between Fonsel and Kate, she's pretty close right here at
Yeah.
remembering that one time 3 or 4 months ago, which would be
This was August.
really
so
5 months ago, which,
almost
being off a month
actually,
wouldn't be a
actually a
big
little over 6 months ago. 5 months ago, yeah.
Yeah, 5 months ago. Gregory says, uh-huh. And she says, that was the area that I was, that's the area, the main area that I was in prostitution in. And, I mean, you'd have some men stop with they self already exposed, and, they, have you play with them, while they stand there, or they play with themselves. I mean, there's a couple men does that, Gregory. That play with they self, that they already have they self exposed when they stop you, and then they hand you like $20 through the window, and there's been a couple of men that does that's by themselves. Yeah. He says, now, are you talking about cops, or are you talking about, she says, I don't know if they be cops or not. Sometimes, I never had a uniform officer. He says, oh, okay. She says, there's only one officer that I know a few years back. He used to, this was before OU. I don't know what this is. This was before, it says OU was only going to 16th Street and back. I don't know what that means. He was a black cop that used to come around here, but like you say, he done stop. I done got stopped by him, but he didn't question me, but he just I understand a girl that exposed her breast to him before, but as far as him threatening to grab somebody, or if Gregory says, okay. And she said, I've never seen that before, but okay. Uh-huh. Gregory says, well, and the short list that we've had, a lot of them, something's happening. And she says, yeah, oh, yeah, you got some inaudible. Gregory says, and no one came forward or anything. We had to go to them. And she says, yeah, because Gregory. And so that's why, and then she interrupts, you know why? Because you know what? It's like this. If they do come, this is Carla. If they do come forward, a lot of times you got to know what they got to deal with. What you guys don't see, what we have to deal with. You know what I'm saying? They want my say like they say they want to search you, or they search the car or something like that. And that can cause you a lot of problems out here, especially women that be out here. Even like just we walking down the street sometimes. I even got stopped coming. I used to live right over here on 14th and Kellum. Okay, Gregory says. I was walking and this officer in a black car stopped me, and he was like, I said, "Why are you stopping me?" And he asked me, I said, "I live right here on 14th. I was just a block, 2 blocks from my house." And he was just like, "Well, we just want to talk to you. We just want to talk to you." Well, here's the thing. She's saying we just want to talk to you. Oklahoma City, other than gang unit, is solo patrol. So there's no we. But anyway, we just want to talk to you. I said, "Well, what you want to talk to me for?" And so he searched me. He searched me and everything like that. You know, how they raise up your bra and all that stuff. He searched me, and I'm like, I'm right around the corner from my house. What do you want from me? And he was like, well, I just wanted to talk. But he had me in the car for like 30-45 minutes right there on 16th. So she's saying she's recalling the stop on 16th as a black officer.
The year earlier. The year
A
before.
black car. Or a black officer.
Oh, a black car. That's right. I'm sorry. Well, that's
And
Daniel.
she's saying he made me raise up my shirt and
He made her
expose my
do the
breast.
clasp and shake.
Yeah. Well, she didn't know anything about in her testimony.
What he
She's never heard of
describes,
that before.
yeah, what he describes as far as having, making sure women don't have something on them is that when he had him do the clasp and shake, he would have them turn away from him and shake out their bra. And Gregory says,
Just-
Gregory or Davis says, "How are you going to even see if they have anything?" He said, "Well, if they do, it's going to drop out right there." But
Okay.
Now she says it was summertime.
This is okay. So this is where Rocky Gregory got the story, where he started with putting together a story. When she's talking about when you just went through all of that, okay? And then Rocky Gregory says, sorry, I'm not trying to butt in on you. How long ago? And then go ahead, Kay.
this was last year. It was summertime because I remember it had just turned night, and I left my house on 14th, and we stayed in between Kellum and Missouri.
Okay. That's where I keep saying, but it was last year. It was the summer. It was last year that she's describing. But Rocky Gregory glossed over all of that, ignored all of that, where she said this was last year. It was summertime.
Well, it's because Daniel only had one stop with her, and it had to be
Right.
It had to be that stop so they could use the AVL to try to convict him with it.
Right. No, yeah.
So,
But Rocky Gregory takes the whole story that she just told, and where she said it was last year, and turned it into, he put that whole story on March 14th or whatever, March 14th, 2014. All of that story that she just told was last year, and it was summertime.
yeah, it was 40 degrees.
Yep, yeah.
And it was just getting dark at 10 o'clock, which In summertime, that would be true. I
That
mean,
would be, and I
Yeah.
believe it was July 7th, and I can't remember why that date is coming to me, but
what was
anyway,
July 7th?
this stop that she just talked about, here,
With Daniel?
no, nope,
Oh,
with the black cop that she's talking about that stopped her, was the
oh,
summer
I think I
before.
misspoke and it was a black car. Oh,
It
you
says
mean,
black car, but it could have been a black cop also.
are you
You know.
saying, are you talking about the one where she says a black top exposed himself to her? Because we didn't
No.
know. Oh, okay.
No,
I don't know. I'm confused.
the the whole story that she just told, Rocky Gregory says how long ago, because now his wheels are turning. He's got her saying up here that she had been stopped and asked, why are you stopping me? I was a block or two, and what do you want to talk to me for? And I'm like, I'm right around the corner from my house, what do you want from me? And he was like, well, I just wanted to talk. But he had me in the car for like 30 to 45 minutes right there on 16th. But then Rocky's wheels start turning. How long ago? And then she says, this was last year and it was summertime because I just left my house on 14th and we stayed in between Kellam and Missouri last year. Rocky took that entire story
Yeah.
and put it, instead of last summer, like she said right there, he took that entire story and put it as the narrative for March 13th, 2014, when Daniel actually did stop her.
And turned it into a 10-minute stop instead of 30 to 45 minutes.
Yes. Because see, she says all of that, and then he just glosses over all of that she just says, and says, but he had you search how? I mean, how did he search you? All of that she just said about it being last summer, completely glossed over, and now he's going to turn all of that into the stop that occurred with Daniel on March 14th. I'm probably not making sense, but
No, it
that's
makes
why
sense to me, Rhonda. Yeah.
huh?
It makes total sense.
Okay.
And
Okay.
she says, like, you know how they search your pockets and raise your.
Raise your bra. Have you
He
raised
interrupts her.
your
Yeah.
shirt up?
I know how
Oh,
yeah, no, but you know how they raise your bra? Have you raise your shirt up and raise your bra up and shake it out? And Rocky says, okay, but nothing above. Did he have you lift your bra? Yeah. You have to raise your shirt up, lift your bra. Yeah. You have to lift your shirt up, lift your bra, shake him out, and make sure you ain't got nothing. Like you say, make sure you ain't got nothing in beneath, your breasts. So that's the typical clasp and shake.
Clasp and shake. Yeah.
That Oklahoma City police officers do use that. Um,
Yeah.
I mean, I have to do that when I go visit Daniel.
Right.
I
you
have
have
to
to do
do
the
the
clasp and shake?
Uh-huh.
Really?
Yeah. Come through the metal detector, and then you have to do the clasp and shake, and then you have to raise your shirt just above your belt line, and they backhand inside your waistband to make sure that you don't have anything in your waistband. And then they pat search you from your ankles up your legs. They backhand you under your breast, straight down, one side, in the middle, straight down, and then on the other side, straight down to your waistline. They have you spread your fingers and show your palms. And then they have you turn around and lift up 1 foot at a time, and they backhand the bottom of your foot.
Wow.
They look behind your ears, and then they have you open your mouth and stick your tongue out to one side and then the other. I think that's it.
Yeah, but they check your
Right.
hair some way too, don't they?
Oh, yeah, they actually if you have your hair up, they'll touch your hair, they'll touch the clasp of your hair to see. I've never had like a barrette or anything. I usually have my hair up in just a hair tie that's just elastic. But if your hair is down, they will also like run the back of their hand, like down the back of your hair, down your neck, onto your back. Yeah. I mean,
I'm sure people try to sneak all kinds of ways.
Yeah. Yes.
they have you empty your
Usually,
pocket, pull your pockets inside out as well. And then they have you, like if you have on jeans that have the little pocket above, they have you run your finger back and forth through that pocket and then straight up, which I guess would dislodge. I mean, I guess I'm just thinking that those things are being done for drugs. Make sure you're not bringing whatever, not have a paper of
Sure.
acid or something, or you couldn't put very many pills or whatever.
I mean, basically just short of body cavity searches,
Yeah.
honestly.
I mean, it really doesn't. I didn't feel a certain way about it. I didn't
Violated.
You don't feel
No, I
violated, yeah.
absolutely didn't
Yeah.
feel violated. It was a female officer.
It's understandable. I mean, totally.
I mean, even for a male officer, I wouldn't feel violated to have to do the clasp and shake for a male officer. That would not bother me at all.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, when my brothers were in prison, and I would go visit them, I mean, it was basically the same thing. We went through and I never felt violated either. I never, I don't know. I guess I just, I don't know. I felt like they did it as thoroughly as they could and needed to, but not to a point where they made me uncomfortable in any way, male or female. So I agree, Kay. I mean, I don't know. Basically, it's the same kind of search that, Daniel would do, or a good, decent, honorable, respectable police officer would do.
I mean, he wasn't doing anything that detailed
No, of course
with
not.
any of these accusers. He really was just making sure they didn't have a weapon inside their waistband. Or drugs in their bra. Some people see a cop and they decide to stash their crack pipe in their bra between their boobs. Yeah. That's the kind of things that he was expecting to fall out of the bra for the clasp and shake. And I hate the whole bullshit Terry stops that Oklahoma City trains their police officers to do. I mean, the chief has
do it here too.
The chief has said, well, no one, he was doing this stuff. No one told him to be doing that. That's so much bullshit.
That's a lie.
There are emails. There are emails directing them to be aggressive with stops, have a lot of contacts. I mean, what they say in their internal emails to each other and what they say to the Black community on the heels of this stuff happening to try to save face. I mean, they've already made Daniel Holtzclaw take the fall for all of this. So that allows them to blame everything on this bad officer that they've trained all their officers to do. No other officers are going to speak up because they don't want to lose their job. It would have been nice if there was someone who was so sick of the corruption that they just had enough and quit. And
Yeah.
but
Came forward.
who wants to be retaliated against like that? And who can afford to just lose their job right now? Not many people.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. I mean, I'm not gonna. There's a story that took place here a few years ago of corruption, and in a small little town northeast of me. And there's actually an interrogation video that's you can see online of how one officer who spoke up against the chief using excessive force on a suspect or subject. He spoke up, and this entire interview that that the sheriff is doing with him, is horrible. And it was and I felt so icky because I was like, oh my God, that's just 40 miles away from me, and I'm so ashamed of that. I think I think Law and Crime put the video out, as did Lackluster, and some other YouTuber also played it. But anyway, it's disgusting. And this poor guy who spoke up against the chief using excessive force, and there's video of the police chief using the excessive force. He like choked had his hand around the throat of the suspect. Anyway, this guy got retaliated against, and him and another officer, I believe, I think they quit eventually or got transferred because of the retaliation, and won a lawsuit, a small settlement in a lawsuit against the guy. But anyway, so yeah, it's there are the ones who are corrupt, and the retaliation is real, and it's like you said, Kay, especially at this time, even any time, nobody can afford to lose their job. And I don't know how much officers get paid, but if they're trying to raise a family and they're looking at, do I say something? I don't know. Yeah, I could go on about that topic all day too, but that's not. Anyway, that's I was showing. I don't know if you know or not, Kay, but I was showing the transcript that you were reading, and
No, I was on my home page.
I also put the link to that transcript in the chat as well, for those who want to. And just so you know, at holtzclawtrial.com, where Kay was reading from, the transcripts of all of the recorded interviews and things like that are all in the homepage of holtzclawtrial.com.
As well as the police reports.
Yes, all the police
which are
reports.
highlighted with Bates notes,
Yeah.
things that stand out to him, who he was the private investigator for Daniel's defense team, things that stood out to him as odd or inconsistent. So it is interesting to look at those police reports there on holtzclawtrial.com. They are inside each of the different episodes. So when you scroll down, each episode has a link where you can open the, what will it say? Click here to visit. Yeah, click here to visit the episode 16 homepage for more details. That's where you'll find the police reports and the transcript of each of these episodes. Yeah,
it's
he
definitely
brings
worth checking them out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he puts all the documentation for each episode into that space. So
I'll just, for those who haven't seen it, I'll just share that since I'm still sharing that screen. I'll show you what that looks like. Oh, whoops. Wrong.
well, I
Oh,
won't
and
carry
now,
on since we're already at 2 hours here, and you posted that link for people to, you know, go check it
yeah,
out themselves. Might not be a bad idea to post it in the comments of the video once you post it too,
yeah,
so
I
it'll
can
be
pin it.
easier to find.
Yep.
All right.
Yes, definitely we'll pin it. Really quickly, I just want to say that that's kind of what the screen will look like when you open it up at holtzclawtrial.com. But I want to say hello to Cherie, who's been working hard and taking a break. She says, "Hey everyone, taking a break. In New York prisons, I have to go to the bathroom, take my shirt and bra off. Wow. Put them in a bag, put on a button-up shirt they have there. Wow. And go through the detector. Uh, wow. The CO looks in the bag, then I go back in the bathroom and put my shirt and bra back on. That is a lot, Sherry. That's kind of crazy. I'm not
That's
gonna lie.
interesting. The other thing that happens when I visit is when there's once you're inside the visitation room and there's a break or you have to go to the restroom, a female guard comes and takes you to the restroom. She goes into the bathroom before you, comes out, then you go in one at a time. When I come out, she goes back in to the restroom. I guess she's looking to see if like if I happen to make it through security with something, if I would put it in there. I don't know why they're doing that, but they do it every time. And it's the
Maybe
whole
to,
thing again where you also have to um they don't search you again, but they have you take your shoes off and they do the bottom of your feet, your hand, and your hands.
yeah, so it's
I
better to
know.
just make sure you empty your bladder before you walk in. Don't drink anything and try not to have to pee during your visit.
Oh, the
Gosh,
visits are too long for that, so there's just
I
no way
know.
that's gonna be the case.
You
Not
gotta
for
do
me
it.
anyway.
Just for um, this, I'm not saying this is why, Kay, but according to my brother, the reason that the officer would go into the bathroom before you and then again after you is to make sure that you, if you did get through security with something, that you didn't stash it in the bathroom, in the tank, or anywhere else, and then have somebody, that you're working in tandem with come along behind you and think that they can go into the bathroom and retrieve whatever the first person hid for them, to, that's what my brother said is the reason that they did that. I
Well,
don't know.
sure, because prisoners are the ones who clean the whole facility, even that outside part. I just don't know,
Right.
you know.
Trustees.
Yeah.
Cherie says, one time I had a stretch camisole on with a built-in bra. They wouldn't let me in. I had to go to the local Walmart, buy a bra to wear under my shirt. Holy shit, that's insanity. Then they let her in, she says. Go. Oh man. Well, thanks for sharing all that with us, Cherie. Yeah, so listen, I could talk all day. I know you guys know I could talk all day about, many, 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 many topics, which is
We
another
know
reason why
that, Rhonda.
I know, which is another reason why I'm planning, to start a second channel, so I can, whatever the topic might be any given day, just, talk random rants and shit and whatever. So that's still coming. It just hasn't been the priority for me lately. So anyway, I appreciate everybody being here and taking part in the reading, Kay and Susan for reading for us, and this preliminary, which was pretty short. It doesn't sound like the. Anyway, the preliminary was pretty short, pretty, I don't know, it was a bizarre one. I didn't understand. A lot of it didn't make sense, and I think Kay and Susan might have felt the same way. Uh, Nothing was consistent with the police report. So next time we're going to read the trial transcript, and we'll see how things change and differ. And I put the first two episodes in the chat so you can look at that. I'll try to put those in the pin them as well. I'm not really good at doing that, but I'll try to pin them in the description or in the comments section as well as holtzclawtrial.com and Bates Investigates podcast. But next week we'll start the trial transcript, and hopefully you guys everybody can come back and listen to that and do your own investigating and your own comparisons to see if there's any differences from what Bates reported, the recorded interview, the police report, and the preliminary. I'll bet there's going to be some inconsistencies. So, unless there's anything else, oh, really quick, I did have a conversation with Daniel last week, and he wanted me to tell everybody hello. Thank you for all of your support, for being here, for taking the time to listen to what we're presenting, and for supporting him. And it's hard for him to express his gratitude because he feels like it's just not sufficient, but he wanted me to tell all of you guys that, and so that was from Daniel. So, okay, unless there's anything else that anybody would like to say, any comments or questions, I think we're going to go ahead and, Susan, did you have anything?
Nope, this time good.
Okay. Kay, any
No.
comments or, okay. All right. So until next time, probably going to be around the same time as we've done it the last couple of weeks. It's working out well for me. So, until next time, peace out.